Hello everybody and welcome to my beginner's guide for Highrise City. I'm Icon and in this video I'm going to talk about everything you need to know to enjoy the early access version of this city builder. As usual, you will find the timestamps to this video in the description box. If you're looking for a particular topic, go check it out. The first thing that I want to do in this video is give you a brief summary about what's unique about this game and what the gameplay in itself is. First and foremost, Highrise City is a classic city builder. So you're the mayor of a town, you take care of everything from the scratch. You build the roads, you build the houses, you build the necessary service buildings, you take care of power, you take care that your people are happy, and so on and so forth. If you've already played games in this genre, you know what you're getting yourself into. What's special about Highrise City is it has a very deep and well-made system of resources and needs. Every one of your citizens, every group of citizens needs different things, and you get to produce a lot of different goods in your city. And therefore, your main job is not only to make your citizens happy, but also to provide the goods they need. At the same time, jobs and job fulfillment play a big role in this game. So you're not only building the city, you're also managing how the supplies for your people work out and that you have enough work for everybody. This is really pretty unique and it sucked me in quite quickly, and I enjoyed the system a lot, even though it is still a early access version that has a lot of room for improvement. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is the user interface real quick. Up here in the left corner, you see the majority of your tools to manage the city. Research points are the first resource. We're going to talk about that in a later chapter. Here's the total amount of citizens, the total amount of money, your resources to build stuff with. Here right now it's tools and wood. This will expand while you play. Here's the time settings. Here's the happiness of your population groups, starting with craftsmen, going over to more educated and needy people. It's pretty simply said, the lowest educated group of people has low needs and low taxes, and the highest group has high needs and high taxes. So the more satisfaction you can bring up in your city, the more taxes you will earn. Whereas these dudes, they just get the job done. So if you need workers and not so much money, this is the best group, and if you need money, the last one is the best group. Over here we have the time and things that go pretty much without saying. This bar here is really interesting. Here the R is your residential need. If this goes up here, you need to build housing because you just need more workers and you don't have the houses. And over here the yellow bar is jobs. It's not for industry, so if you come from games like City Skylines or SimCity, this doesn't mean industry. This means you need to put up more jobs. You need to put up buildings that produce jobs. I'm going to show you how that looks like in a minute. And over there you have the filters. So how's the water supply? Where are the resources? For example, we can't check out where's the iron ore here on this map, and we have gold. No, well, you get the idea. Lots of different things. Here's where the clay deposits are sitting at. Pretty useful things. Check them out if you need them. And here's the milestone menu, giving you an information about what kind of new things you can unlock if you reach a certain milestone. If you hover your mouse down there, there's the building menu, and it's divided into different chapters, from zones over streets, industry, supplies, special buildings, and landscaping. Whatever you build, your user interface will always show you something like that, which is a complete readout about what the building needs. I can't put the mouse cursor there, but you need 3 wood to build that, and down below there you see how much garbage it produces, how much pollution, if it needs a street, how big it is, how many workers it needs, and so on and so forth. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say about the user interface. Up here we have some cosmetic options to set the sun state or enter photo mode, enter the options. The only thing I left out is this here. Here you can check out how's the state of your resources. When you mouse over these points, you also see the development of these goods or services over the amount of time. And this opens up the trade menu. We're going to go there once we get into the trade menu. Okay, user interface done. The next chapter is about showing you how to build stuff in this game. There's 3 different things, three different big categories of things to build. That's buildings, roads, and farms. They behave a little bit unique. And we're going to start out with the roads, because these are pretty important in general. So, road system is very cool and simple. You can select here a lot of different styles of road building, but we go for the standard settings. You left click once, and then you can move your cursor, and once you click another time, you build the road. There's different ways of building roads here, bent roads, free-drawn roads, and I guess it all goes pretty much without saying. You can change a lot of other settings, so if you're looking for more organic or less 90-degree formed roads, go crazy. There's a lot of good stuff going on there. Building buildings now is a lot more easy. Well, we need a little bit of a road into the forest there. The buildings are very, very simple. You just select the building here, building material. We are going to select a small lumberjack yard. And as you see here, the white grids here show us where we can put down zones. More about that in a minute. But the lumberjack yard, as you see here, no road within reach. It has to be plucked down next to a road, but that's also within the building setup. And that's all. That's how you've set up buildings. There's nothing more to it. After a couple of hours, this thing will be fully built. Zones are working out like that. You select them, and the white grids here show you how far the reach of this road goes to. So basically your residential zone can go all the way back to this place here before you need to put up more streets. As you see here, I can't even put down residential zones somewhere where they have no access to streets. It's not even possible, which is a good thing. Lastly, let's talk a moment about how to build farms, because they are a little bit unique. A farm has always to be enclosed by 4 roads. So you set the starting point. Let's click down here, and then you select how the first road should roll. Then you select how the second road should roll. And then the third one. I like to combine them back into the main street, but it's up to you. As you see here, there's also lots of other options how you can change the look of your farms. And once you've enclosed this whole thing with roads, you can plot down the actual farm building. And that's how you build farms. Now, the rest of this patch here will then be used for farming, pretty obviously. And that's the main types of buildings. There's, of course, also water supplies. You can build water pipes, and I'm going to talk about that right in the next chapter. That's infrastructure, because it behaves a lot like roads, and infrastructure is the next chapter on my list. So, infrastructure, of course, roads are already a part of that, but we're going to go into the supply menu and fulfill more of that. So first things first, we need power. In the early access version right now, it's quite hilarious, but you can build down your power generation wherever you want. You don't need to put down any power poles or whatever. This wind turbine now produces power for the rest of my city. I think this will be patched out in the future versions, and we'll have to connect things with power poles as well, but as it is right now, you can just plot down your wind turbine and you get power out of that without any problems. So here you see our power production now is 400 is a lot of kilowatt, and it gets spread out to your city. Don't ask me why. For now, it is like that. Water works differently. Water is this tab here. For water right now, we also can only build water towers, which produce water by just existing. Another thing which I expect to be changed in the early access time. Now, you plop down the water tower, and once that's done, you go for the water pipes, and then you see that little white dot. You click it once, and then you can drag and drop the water supplies. As you see here, it's just spreading across. Below your money counter, you also see how costly these will grow. And as a rule of thumb, all your buildings, most of your buildings will need access to water. You can also connect these together. I think it's very self-explanatory. So the last things about infrastructure now need to be built, and that's carriers. That's the the industry which just picks up goods and transports them around town. Because, you know, the lumberjack, for example, produces the lumber here, but it does not transport the stuff away on its own. You also get a readout about the problems a building has if you just click them. So if there's any problem, they'll pop up here. Also the same stuff for your buildings, but more about that in a minute. So, the last thing that I want to talk about is you will always need to expand these, and the services and such are, well, to me, also part of the infrastructure, but not so much important. The last thing is not accessible to us here, and that's warehouses. These can be found back here in the special buildings tab. At the beginning you have a very limited amount of storage. You see capacity is 80 tons. For every warehouse you can increase that. You can store more goods with that. And over the time you will need more and more of these carriers, and they will do the job of transporting goods around town. Once you need anything like water or electricity, the game will give you pop-ups about that. In the carriers, as you see here, this is their workload. Once this is filled fully, you really need a new carrier, and this is pretty much it. So, next thing that I want to talk about on this list is how housing and offices work. So we've already built a little bit of a housing zone here, but let's expand a little bit on that. As we see here, we have no need of anything. Don't take these bars at the beginning too seriously. They are lying quite often. So new housing zones, as you see here, they also automatically cost you money and wood. Offices are something else. Offices are needed for every industry. As we see here, different industries also need offices. The lumberjack doesn't, so you don't see anything here, but the farm needs. If a industry needs offices, you'll, well, here, it's an arrow in the tooltip, actually. It needs offices, but the need of them is depicted here, usually. Sec. Yeah, we can see that over here. In the tooltip, there's a 2. All in all, offices will be used by your industry, but offices can also be used just as an income increase. You're basically wanting to build as many offices as your economy needs. So whenever this pops up, this means that your industries need more office space, and every industry here needs that sooner or later. And as you see here now, there is now a shortage of workers there. So this place lacks workers, and therefore we need more housing. And with more housing come more needs for other goods, and goods like that we need are shown when we click those houses here. So electricity, water, garbage, fish, and veggie. We're right now already producing veggie. Let's produce fish as well. That's quite simple. We just pull a road over here to the water, and then we select the food production there, plot down one thing to water, and that's that. You can't build the fisheries if they don't have access to water, so if you can't build it, it's close enough to do water. Don't worry about that. And this is pretty much the basics about offices and housing. Offices are necessary for several different industries, and you will keep building them when you need them. Also, you can use them to increase your income, because a rent-out office is always giving you a lot of money. So, that's that. The next topic that I want to talk about are the industries and production chains in this game. We're already producing lumber, and as we see here, we're definitely not producing enough of it. So we're just going to patch up another of these, and we've also unlocked now a new material, brick. Brick is made out of clay, but we don't have clay per se. So we need now first the clay pit, which can be plotted down here on top of the clay deposit. As soon as you build something like that, you also get these nice indicators. We place it down, and then we give it a road. Just like that. And now we also can just go over to the other industry there and build a brickyard. And that's that. Keep in mind, though, that these buildings are problematic for certain reasons. You see this yellow circle around that? This is air pollution. So you might want to keep that as far away from your residential areas as possible, so you don't pollute your people. And whenever something like that here pops up, that means you need to increase on your power production. Over the course of the time, you will gain more and more different power supplies. The wind turbines are just the beginning, and as you see here, the wind turbines are producing noise, which is also a form of pollution, which people hate. And this is, in its basics, how these things work. This means that there is not enough carrier capacity in the vicinity, so just build the carrier if that happens. And in its basics, all the industries work like that. You will have to plot the resource generators on top of resource deposits, and then these resources will get transported to processing facilities. Once these processing facilities have built their stuff, they will transport that stuff back into warehouses where you can use it afterwards. That's, in a nutshell, how these things work, and all the industries in the game work like that, basically. The next thing on my list is trade, because trade is just awesome. We're going to build down a port for that, because no port, no trade, and then I'm going to show you how the trade in general works. Over the course of the time, your people will grow more and more needy. For example, here, these guys are needing healthcare. Let's provide to them. This is also like a resource, like food or any other thing. So if you want to make your people completely happy, just click the houses and check out what they need. The happier they are, the higher you can tax them, and therefore the more money you gain. Okay, now we can finally talk about trade for real. So, to trade, you open the trade menu either via this button or by clicking the port and opening the trade menu here. So, trading, you either buy or sell a good. I'm going to show you both things. So, when we want to buy something, we're going to select what we're going to buy. We're going to buy tools for now, because tools are a resource you can't produce on your own. And once you have that, this slider here will give you now the option to select how much of that good should be stored at any point. So I put this onto 70, and once the trading is happening, this blue bar, you see, we've bought up to 70 of these. Give me a sec. We're out of power again. The small wind turbines really don't produce much power. So this is how you buy goods. Selling goods works just the same. We're going to go for wood now. And now I'm going to tell the game that I want to sell wood as soon as I hit 70. So every unit of wood which goes past 70 will be sold once this bar is full. And that's how you buy and sell. If you checkmark this thing, you deactivate this system and just tell the game to sell 70 units of wood, basically. So this would be overriding the minimum threshold settings. Up here, you see how much capacity you got. So we can trade up to 15 tons of material per trade interval. To increase that, build more harbors. This way you can either fulfill needs that you can't produce on your own, or you check out your productions here. For example, we're massively overproducing food, and then you can use these overproductions to gain money with. Trade in this game is extremely fun, and you can do a lot of things with that, especially if you specialize your production in a certain way. You can increase your income massively, especially since these are easily set up in a way that they work permanently for you. I really enjoyed that a lot, and it's quite simple. The next two topics that I want to talk about require us to change the city, because this city here is sadly too small to have access to other aspects. So I've prepared a city for that, to show you around how the other aspects of the game will work. The next thing that I want to talk about are laws. You can also propose certain laws that will have impact on your town as soon as you can build the courthouse. The courthouse is locked between several milestone achievements, and once you get there, you can build it. Several of these special buildings unlocking features are, well, unlocked behind different milestones. You'll be seeing it once you get there. The necessary courthouse is locked behind, I don't know anymore. Well, you'll see it when you get there. One big thing, though, worth mentioning while we're talking about that, the game wants you first to have craftsmen, that's the lowest type of citizens, and then you will need to satisfy the needs of higher tier citizens to go further in the ladder, and these people are more and more demanding, and as you see here, there's a lot of other good things that they need now: spices, bread, textiles, and lots of other services. But I'm getting sidetracked. What I wanted to talk about are laws. So we're going to go into this button here. Sadly, I don't find a direct button for laws, but you can hijack the trade menu and just click on laws there. So laws are pretty simply explained. If you have ever played Cities Skylines or similar games, this will come really quickly to you. You can set up different, well, protocols that have different effects. You see here what kind of effects there are. For example, legalizing the gambling would give us this amount of money plus, but it increases the criminality by this rate, and it lowers the education by this rate. All these programs are well explained, and you just need to read what it does. You will use these laws mostly to either gain more money or make your people happier, or, well, mostly these things are used to fulfill certain milestones or just spend excess money. It's pretty neat, and I hope that this part sees a little bit more polishing, because right now, in this version of the early access, it feels a little bit basic, but that's not necessarily a super bad thing. Now, the next thing on my list is research. Research is also unlocked by hitting a certain milestone. It's hidden behind, I think, 3,000 people there. And once you can build it, you have access to the research menu. Keep in mind, though, the research center costs a pretty heavy amount of money per month, so you will want to keep that as as something that you build once you can afford it. Once you have built the research center, this research menu unlocks, and here you have your amount of research points, and here you have the different technologies that you can research. You see what they do, you see how many levels they can have, and how many research points they cost. One really important thing to mention here is research points are not generated by researching or something like in many games. You gain research points for breaking through certain milestones. Pretty much every milestone later on yields also research points, which are basically upgrade points to give you the option to specialize your city in various different ways. You can increase the reach of your lumber yards, you can increase the capacity of your farms. Basically, this is a ways and means to give you the option to either strengthen your strengths or flatten out your weaknesses. It's a pretty good system, and the only thing that felt pretty anti-intuitive to me was the fact that we're not producing any research points whatsoever on our own. Now, that's pretty much everything you need to know to get started. I left out a handful of little things like garbage management, because that was a point of the infrastructure we had no access to. Garbage is pretty simple. You go for garbage collectors, garbage zones, and then garbage power plants, which produce tons of pollution, of course. And beyond that, there's lots of other things to unlock. This game is in its early access stage already extremely deep and offers a lot of fun things, and I can wholeheartedly recommend it on its current stage of development, and especially for the low price that it has. So, I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any further questions, ask away in the comment section. Also, consider leaving a thumbs up on that video if you found it helpful, and last but not least, consider subscribing as well. There's daily content coming up on my channel. I'd love to see you there. The last thing that I want to talk about is my Twitch channel. I do regularly stream there, and it would be awesome to see you guys there. Go check it out. The link is in the description box. The last thing, have a wonderful day, and see you soon. Bye-bye.